All right, so this just came out, a video called DeAndre Ayton will transform the Lakers. Now, first off, what do you mean by transform? How will he transform the Lakers here? What will the final result be in a Transformers-esque Lakers? We don't really know. I'm going to watch this video here. Apparently, he's going to explain to me how he will transform the Lakers into an Autobot somehow over here. So let's go out of here. The Basketball Bulletin is where it's at then. Let's go at it.
Hello, Basketball Bulletin. Today, we're diving into the career of DeAndre Ayton, the 2018 #1.
Wait, is he like saying hello to his own channel?
Hello, Basketball Bulletin. Today,
He's saying hello to his own channel. Not even the bulletins, like the bulletin. All right, then, sure.
we're diving into the career of DeAndre Ayton, the 2018 #1 overall draft pick, who's now a Los Angeles Laker. From his roots in the Bahamas to his new chapter in Hollywood.
Wait. Is this going to be one of those videos, actually? It better not be. Where, like, you're trying to explain how player A or player B affects a team, and instead of actually going into detail on how he does transform that team, it's like half the video just him like providing like backstory on what the person is. Will that be the case? Then if that's the case, I gotta skip by the halfway point here, but I'm gonna give this guy a chance.
Ayton's journey has been one of promise, challenges, and untapped potential. Let's break down his career so far and explore how he'll fit with LeBron James.
Okay, let's go ahead, yo. He'll explain how he'll transform Lakers.
DeAndre Ayton was born in 1998 in Nassau, Bahamas. Standing 6'5" by age 12, he was a basketball prodigy. His family moved to San Diego, where he dominated high school ball, earning McDonald's All-American honors. At the University of Arizona, Ayton's lone college season was spectacular. He averaged 20.1 points and 11.6 rebounds, setting Arizona freshman records and winning the Pac-12 Player of the Year and Karl Malone Award.
Okay, I'll say this right now, actually, because there are a lot of people who want to do, like, revisionist history. DeAndre Ayton was the clear #1 pick. Like, he gave him the same draft year as Luka Doncic. It was without a shadow of a doubt. DeAndre Ayton was like the #1 guy. All right, then whoever got the first pick would get DeAndre Ayton. The only reason why we say Luka Doncic now is because like a lot of it goes into theory crafting here, or in terms of like what expectations are. When Luka Doncic ended up getting drafted, actually, there are a lot of question marks about him. We knew that he had a higher ceiling than Ayton, but Ayton was like the surefire guy here. If he drafted DeAndre Ayton, it was like this guy will get you like 22 and like 12 or 11 rebounds throughout his entire career. Like, he was a guaranteed like star player. Well, Luka Doncic wasn't that case, and Luka Doncic would be a bigger superstar player than Ayton, but Ayton was like the surefire pick. Like, oh yeah, this guy can make the #1, #2 option in a championship winning team. Luka Doncic at the time, no, not really. So when people like revise the history of DeAndre Ayton, this guy was a star player and was clearly like the most safest guaranteed pick to being really good, and he was really gosh darn good, kind of. But let's see how this turns out.
His 26-point, 20-rebound game against Cal showcased his dominance. Despite NCAA scrutiny, Ayton declared for the 2018 NBA Draft, where the Phoenix Suns selected him first overall, ahead of stars like Luka Doncic and Trae Young.
Wingspan is 4.5. Take the over and tip it back.
Ayton's NBA career began with high expectations. As a rookie, he delivered, averaging 16.3 points and 10.3 rebounds on 58.5% shooting, earning all-rookie first-team honors. His ability to finish lobs and control the glass was evident, though critics noted his defensive inconsistency. In 2019, a 25-game suspension for a diuretic violation set him back.
DeAndre Ayton has been suspended for 25 games without pay.
But he returned strong, posting 18 points and 12 rebounds against the Clippers. The 2020-2021 season was Ayton's breakout. Playing alongside Chris Paul, he thrived as a pick-and-roll threat, averaging 14.4 points and 10.5.
But even then, okay, so like, let me press it. So you know what DeAndre Ayton was in like for this Phoenix squad? He basically played the role, if you remember, like the 07-08 like New Orleans Hornets at the time. Actually, the reason why he thrived with Chris Paul was because DeAndre Ayton pretty much played the exact same role as Tyson Chandler. It was like the New Orleans coasting actually. But even then, like when you recognize that Ayton was just playing the same exact role as Chandler was back in the Hornets, and considering the fact that Ayton supposedly has like a much more higher skill ceiling than Chandler, then once you really think about it, actually, it was kind of disappointing. Like, DeAndre Ayton, in theory, when paired up with someone like Devin Booker and Chris Paul, should walk away with like 18, 20 points per game, especially as the scoring was like lighting up actually, and that Suns team was really very limited in their options. I say Ayton should have been better. Like, scoring like 15 and like 10 or 12 is honestly kind of disappointing when you consider the fact that this guy really does have all the physical tools to be a lot more better than this. So the fact that he's only averaging about 14, 50 points per game with Chris Paul as ball handler when he's supposed to be a more advanced version of Tyson Chandler in around 2019, 2020, that's where like you're starting to question like really how good DeAndre Ayton really is. And when you watch those games, you kind of recognize that he can't even really set up his own shot, which is surprising considering his physical gifts.
5 rebounds. We can conceive him playing in a similar style alongside Luka Doncic with the Lakers. In the playoffs with Phoenix, he was a force, scoring 21 points.
I'm just wrong. So, okay, Luka is a playmaker. We can admit that, right? He's a playmaker, and he tries to get, like, but he's a different style of playmaker, where he doesn't zone in. It's not like the Stockton Malone thing, where you just lock into a certain other player and they make him good. No, Luka's, like, he tries to, like, score first, then pass B secondary, and he likes to pop out and go towards shooters, actually. For the most part, you're not going to have like a driving DeAndre Ayton getting the ball from like Luka Doncic kicking the ball to him. It's not going to really happen here, especially considering that someone like LeBron James at times though likes to hover around like the mid-range zone. So I'm not really sure. And also, by the way, like LeBron loves like fighting his way in the lane, and Luka Doncic actually at times though needs that whole middle lane spot here, and Ayton is trying to work on his mid-range game as well. So at this point here, I'm worried about clogging up happening a wee bit over here. Well, that's you got shooters around, right? You got shooters around here. But now you're playing like 4-1 with like 4 out, 1 guy inside. And Ayton is not a 1-on-1 offensive player. So I'm very like skeptical in how this is going to work.
Grabbing 16 rebounds in his debut against the Lakers. Ayton's Suns reached the NBA Finals, falling to Milwaukee, but his screens and lobs with Paul showed his potential as a complementary big. However, tensions emerged. Ayton's relationship with coach Monty Williams soured, and his max contract negotiations stalled. In 2022,
no, but he shouldn't just be a lob threat, right?
$132.9 million offer.
You shouldn't just be a lob threat guy who's good at screening.
Ayton's production remained steady, 16.7 points and 10.4 rebounds over 5 seasons. But his perceived lack of aggression frustrated fans.
Yeah,
in 2023,
exactly.
Phoenix traded him to Portland in the Damian Lillard deal, closing a chapter where Ayton showed flashes of brilliance, but never fully silenced doubters.
Yeah, like when you watch DeAndre Ayton, you're like, dang, this guy should dominate. And then you watch him play, and he just like stands about. And despite him being a huge dude who can clearly like play good defense when he chooses, look, it's like Anthony Davis a lot actually, surprisingly enough though. But like Anthony Davis is way better defense than Ayton. A wee bit actually, but they both have a tendency of like if someone's driving in the lane and then Anthony Davis like is in the side and he has to like actually defend somebody, then he's not going to help anybody out. Like it's not going to happen here. And Ayton does that all the time. I mean, Ayton does it all the time actually, where he'll just allow people to like blow past him, or he's just going to stand about while his teammates get blown by through someone driving in the lane and kicking it out. Like Ayton's like that guy on 2K that you think should be good in defense. And then you actually play him, and he's like, dang, this guy's like a frail whale.
In Portland, Ayton joined a rebuilding team with young talent like Scoot Henderson. His 23-24 season was solid with 16.7 points and 11.1 rebounds on 57% shooting.
Yeah, on the rebuilding team, you shouldn't be scoring. But once again, these are good numbers. Ayton is giving out good numbers, but this shouldn't be the numbers for a guy who's in a rebuilding, super limited team that has very little options.
Ayton's mid-range touch and rebounding were assets, but his defensive effort and motor drew criticism. In 2024-2025, a calf strain limited him to 40 games, where he averaged 14.4 points and 10.2 rebounds. Despite highlights,
all right, we're at the halfway point here. Tell me, we're halfway through the video here. Tell me how he's transferred to the Lakers.
With Ayton's off-court habits, lateness to practice, and skipped rehab appointments per The Athletic. With young centers like Donovan Clingan emerging, Portland bought out Ayton's contract on June 29th, 2025, allowing him to hit free agency.
Yeah, think of that then. A rebuilding team is open to buy out a player who was formerly the #1 pick, consistently averaging a double-double. Just think about that, actually. There are some things about the guy, then, that makes you very skeptical about him.
Giving up $10 million of his $35.6 million salary. On July 2nd, 2025, Ayton signed a 2-year, $16.6 million deal with the Lakers, with a player option for 26-27. This move reunited him with Luka Doncic, drafted 2 picks after him in 2018, and paired him with LeBron James. The Lakers, desperate for a center after trading Anthony Davis and benching Jackson Hayes in the 2025 playoffs, saw Ayton as the answer to their front court woes. LA has since re-signed Jackson Hayes to act as Ayton's backup. So how does Ayton fit with the Lakers?
All right,
at almost 27 years old, he's in his prime, bringing career averages of 16.4 points and 10.5 rebounds on 59% shooting.
But they're
his
empty
athleticism
stats.
and 7 foot, 250 pounds.
Oh, come on.
Make him a perfect lob threat.
He's doing the whole, like, the guy's got athleticism, so he must be good kind of shtick, actually. This guy can catch lobs. Okay, so could Jackson Hayes. Like, yeah, like, and I'm not saying 16 and 10 are not, like, bad, because they are good numbers. They are. But it's one of those things, actually, like, when you actually watch the games and you see, like, how he is on the court, though, and you kind of recognize how much he just lets people score on him, is crazy then. And then on offense, he's just ultra passive for no good gosh darn reason. And considering that, like, LeBron James and Luka have a tendency of, like, playing a lot of half-court game here, and Deandre Ayton, I think, is at his best, though, when you force him to move, I think, like, we're not going to get... I believe Ayton is going to have 15 and 11, all right? He's going to have 15 and 11, and then in the box room, like, dang, this guy played good. He's super consistent. And then, like, you watch the game, like, dang, this guy really can't play defense, or dang, this guy's ultra passive. Like, he reminds you of Hasheem Thabeet, in a sense. And Hasheem Thabeet's also similar, actually, where it's like, the people score a lot of points, and then you can be like, in theory, he's a great defender, but then you watch him like, oh, man, God, this guy's terrible, actually. Oh, man. Like, yeah, this guy scored like 15 points and got like 3 blocks and then like, 14 rebounds. But damn, he just allowed so many points in the paint. And he never like, Ayton and Thabeet are, no, not Thabeet. Hassan Whiteside, that's what we're. Hassan Whiteside, not Hasheem Thabeet. But Hasheem Thabeet's also like a frail whale of a big man. We're like, yeah, the guy's got all the physical tools, but then he just doesn't really apply it then. And for Ayton here, Ayton is like, this guy is showing all the highlights of Ayton being a dominant force. But him being a dominant force is like a small fraction of like the whole game. For the most part, he just looks bored all the time. But he reminds you of Hassan Whiteside.
LeBron's playmaking
good numbers are empty.
Easy dunks, much like Chris Paul did in Phoenix. Ayton's mid-range shooting could space the floor for J.J. Redick's offense, and his rebounding, 10.2 per game last season, addresses the Lakers' struggles in the paint, especially after losing to Rudy Gobert's Timberwolves in 2025. Defensively,
but Rudy Gobert will just
not a rim protector like Davis,
Ayton.
but his size and agility can hold up against most centers.
Oh, no, that's a lie. That's a lie. Yeah, when he moves, he can defend. It's like Anthony Davis. When he moves, he can defend.
Ayton's not a rim protector like Davis,
but his size and this guy's following that dumb trope of like, if the guy is athletic and he can jump fairly high and he can dunk, that must mean he's a good defender. No, that's not the case. Oh my gosh.
Agility can hold up against most centers. Most are optimistic about Ayton's fits with the Lakers, noting that he doesn't have to be a primary scorer, just a rim runner and rebounder.
The only reason why he scored in the first place for Phoenix was because they kind of forced him to be a scorer. Oh, man.
LeBron and Austin
I'm
Reeves.
not a hater for DeAndre Ayton, but like DeAndre Ayton I've been a fan of for years, and I'm always disappointed.
And lows, like his Portland exit. His Lakers signing is a fresh start. If he embraces the high-stakes environment and learns from LeBron's leadership, as he did with Paul, Ayton could rediscover his 2021 form. Critics have questioned his motivation, but the Lakers coaching staff believe they can unlock him.
Unlock him.
Mentorship,
oh man, they're doing it.
Reshape.
Yeah, the guy has all the tools. Just give him time. He was just part of a wrong system. Give him a good coach and the right system. Actually, he can be amazing. He's got all the tools and the athleticism. He can guard all 5 positions. He can shoot. He's a good pick and roller defender. Actually, then. Do you see him dunking? Him dunking shows he can play defense.
The narrative. If he delivers 16 points and 10 rebounds while anchoring the paint, the Lakers could find themselves in contender status.
Or he can score 16 points, 10 rebounds, actually, and not anchor the defense, and then you recognize he has empty numbers.
That's the DeAndre Ayton story so far. From Nassau to LA, he's ready to make waves with the Lakers.
He's ready to make waves here. Okay, once again, I'm not the biggest I'm not a DeAndre Ayton hater, even though I sound like it actually. But I've followed this guy I always believed that Ayton was gonna be like a superstar player one day, and it never comes to fruition. And every single year, it's like, this is the year Ayton becomes great. This is the year that Ayton becomes great. And next thing you know, actually, like, he's like either mid or below average in terms of like being a valuable member to their team. Like, if Ayton actually played legit defense and like developed a post game for Phoenix, they could have potentially like won the NBA championships. I'm being honest with you. I feel like Trevor should do this more often. Dope. I like this player bio style. Trevor, great work as always. Can you talk about the Ayton? People acting like Ayton wasn't a top 3 player on a team that went to the finals. Yeah, he was a top 3 player. And guess what? If he just played defense and actually had a post-up game, they could have won the title. And now we're years away removed from that version of Ayton. So, like, what do you expect? Maybe his numbers don't... Yeah, my criticism would be his numbers don't really matter because the problem is created due to his inability to play meaningful defense. There it is, actually. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, that really is it, though. His numbers are empty. It's Hassan Whiteside all over again. Like, this guy is bound to disappoint people. And as someone who's been constantly disappointed in Deandre Ayton, I will refuse to be like, yeah, man, let's go. You know, hopefully, you know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is the year that Deandre Ayton finally becomes a star player. He's going to get like 22 and like 13. Maybe this is the year. Again.